AquaDragon versus BeanSoldier, and BeanSoldier chooses to go first in this matchup. So let's see what these casters have up their sleeves. And if we see an Astrabbit as the start, well, I'm just going to put my feet up and wait for a play to be made.
All right, BeanSoldier going first, going to begin with a copy of Smoltuga.
It's Water Astrabbit. So we're searching a fire card.
That is a beautiful Smoltuga. Is that the base art? It just looks kind of weird on the camera.
That's the base art, yeah.
Huh. So we're getting, unsurprisingly, Volcari's champion of Hephaestus. BeanSoldier is playing a Fire Nexus deck. Super excited to be seeing this out of him. He is a huge proponent of these cards and their ability to put up incredible boards, enable very powerful plays on the back of Kindleo and free Hephaestus. I am interested in seeing what he does next turn, because going for turn 1 Volk is a little scary when you can't recycle spirits from the underworld. And AquaDragon said, you know what? That strategy seems pretty good. I'm going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, it doesn't have to wait a turn to get the search out for Valkyries. It's already in hand, able to get the Hephaestus to search the artifact, likely the Torch of Hestia, go up to a 6 and threaten destruction of this Smoltuga. Do you really want to spend your back row to protect the Smoltuga? Well, I guess it's valuable because you get to get rid of the artifact as well. So
it depends on what exactly the back row is. If it was a Gorgon's Gaze, I think we probably would have seen it activated on the Valkyries. So this thing eats Gorgons as much as Elachik used to.
Yeah.
Here, we're going to Hephaestus probably just for 2 or 3. Then we'll, like you said, send one off, go grab a Torch of Hestia, and then we can cast it off the spirit that we just sent to the Underworld via Volcari's effect.
Just a really efficient turn 1 play. Valkyries is so good for getting artifacts online, and is one of the reasons why Champion of Zeus Titania Strike is so efficient. Like, just getting Thunderstorm out to threaten these sort of divine plays is just so good. But Torch of Hestia is going to be the cast out, and the important thing is not only do we get the attack to threaten this Smoltuga, we get the foretell of 3 to adjust our next draw for the next turn.
Now, the foretell is a little strange. Without Hestia on field, it's just a foretell. You don't get to add anything. And for that reason, your opponent here, BeanSoldier, gets knowledge of what your next couple of turns are going to look like. Almost reach over to the spirit deck here. Is like, oh, right. No, yes, I have one in the yard. But, you know, that's not too big of a deal. It's just for a player like Josh, it's going to really influence how they take their turn. It looks like we are going to go for shield here. And I think we call activation of the torch? We did. So we're looking at the top 3 here.
All right, so we got 2 solar being spent by Josh. Wait, yeah, 2 what? So do we have Golden Fleece? All right, so Champion Warmite, Kindleo, and Gorgon's Gaze.
Gorgons.
I think you take the Warmite.
Kindleo. I mean, if you don't have Kindleo already, Kindleo's so powerful.
Oh yeah, with the
Hephaestus already developed.
On field, yeah. Makes sense.
This returns to hand, and we are going to lose some spirits for our troubles. Back to BeanSoldier. BeanSoldier could try and force through the Valkyries this turn. Looks like he's going to. This is prime Gorgon's Gaze material. See if we've got it.
You have to have it.
No, looks like a thumbs up. All right.
Yep, just goes for it. So now, like, what are we going to be searching from the Hephaestus? There's going to be another Torch of Hestia, which I see the value in it.
Well, I liked the Torch of Hestia, but the couple of solar is making me think that maybe he has other targets. Like you said, Golden Fleeces would be pretty interesting. That one. Ooh, I kind of like this, like refusing to commit here with the understanding that you don't want to put your Hephaestus in any sort of danger. You're not going to get anything but a foretell off of committing 3 or 4 more spirits to the board. And as a result, you kind of want the ability to deploy everything at once while still potentially playing into a position where your opponent can't cast like a Lavalith here.
The Flurmine being expended there, and the Zaptor, so keeping the Fire Spirits in the Spirit deck. 1 face down set by Josh, so just knowing Josh, you just know that face down is ready to go. Would not be surprised if it is engaged to be prepared for the Kindleo that is drawn this turn, if AquaDragon needed to draw it this turn. However, like, you kind of have to go for the play, and if it doesn't work out, then you Hephaestus, go for out of an artifact and try to buff up the Kindleo to survive whatever onslaught happens next.
It's kind of rough for a couple of reasons. Firstly, expending that Flurmine Probably means you're on Cryoblast side of the board, and BeanSoldier is going to be on notice for the rest of the game. Secondly, like you said, activating this Hephaestus is pretty powerful, but unfortunately, the package that this deck often plays is 1 Torch, 1 Necklace, 1 copy of Tunic. And Tunic doesn't actually protect the Kindleo, because all Josh has to do is establish 1 more guy. That's completely resolved by playing a copy of Hammer of Hephaestus.
Oh.
Wow, incredible. Not often you get to see this one.
No, really cool card that gives you +1 attack for every face-up enchanted card you have on the field. So really good with Kindleo. And also, while Hephaestus is active, the Empowered Elestral cannot be targeted by Elestral effects. Interesting tech there. I don't think Hammer of Hephaestus is bad at all, but it's uncommonly used right now.
Yeah, it was really popular in the Shattered Stars builds of these decks. If you recall, those individual decks
Hurricane?
At the point of print didn't have Torch and needed something to do. We are 2 for 1ing ourselves off this Hurricane. It's Argo. That's a good one. Into an Argo.
An Argo! A literal mirror match at this point.
I mean, if you're BeanSoldier, you got to be happy that your opponent just spent 5 Argoing your Argo.
Exactly. And they lost their Argo as well. That's a huge come up for you.
All right,
but that does mean Kindleo's going to come get. Oh.
Do we have another copy of Hephaestus? Looks like we don't. We can enchant the hammer using the spirits from the underworld.
I'm questioning this because Kindleo could have destroyed the Valkyries and got over the Smoltuga and cleared the
I guess
field.
maybe the argument is then it's kind of a sitting duck, right? Like it just gets run over by anything.
With the face down, though, it's tough to say. But
you're still in the same position versus versus BeanSoldier's board anyway. Hephaestus can theoretically get something that will contest any guy in your deck.
Or just
here, we don't even have to go for it.
Yeah, don't have to do anything at all. Galaxy does everything you're looking for and more. Being able to switch all the stats, making Valkyries a 4 attacker, I believe. Not enough to stop the Galaxy in attack or the Smoltuga in attack. And it is going to run over it.
Ooh.
All of that goes to the underworld. And 1 point of damage is their AquaDragon. Huge blow this turn.
It looks like a huge blow to their spirit deck until you realize that half of the stuff on the field was free. So, like, they did just take this turn.
Yeah, I mean, there is that value. Another face down set by BeanSoldier, just playing a really patient game, getting so much value. Like, you're just sitting 1 card per turn, and you got out of a Hurricane.
It's really interesting to watch these mirror matches, Ambrosia coming down from AquaDragon, in which both players are playing the same deck, because even within 2 individuals who are playing the exact same list, card for card, which I'm not implying these 2 are, there is going to be an aggressor and an individual who intends to make the game go long. And even if you are playing a deck that is equally as aggressive, equally as defensive as your opponents, your individual playstyle and your comfort with games going long is going to determine how you want to assign your role. So for BeanSoldier, I think even though we are in a position where both players are on the same deck, he's totally fine if the game goes long. He knows that he is a skilled player who will eventually be able to out whatever his opponent's doing. And for that reason, even though the list could be card for card the same, there's no reason to push. You know, the important part here is that we deal with each individual threat and let our skill speak for ourselves.
More often than not, Elestrals is a game of tempo. If you continuously trading with your opponent 1 for 1, when they don't have that 1, you get your advantage that you're looking for. So yeah, just goes to lend itself to the skill of BeanSoldier here and the patience and confidence he has in this game. A Strabic comes out from AquaDragon after the healing of 2 fires and a Thunder. And yes, the
re-enchanting the Galaxy here loses to nothing outside of Gorgons.
Yeah.
But you've given so many good Gorgons and that back row hasn't been flipped already. You have to imagine it's either a bluff or a super conditional card like Argo. For that reason, just re-enchanting the Galaxy and getting in means that you have 2 individual Elestrals that contest the now 2 defense Astrabbit with your 5 attack Smoltuga. You just never have to go further in than this. You can just keep sitting on these Elestrals until your opponent makes you work for it.
So the Kindleo should be in hand. I don't think there was any search, and there's the Kindleo being played right now. Obviously, nexusing off the Hephaestus. If you can get the destruction on the Galaxy, then you can clear this field.
This is a pretty tasty Gorgons.
Yeah. See, and this is exactly why. Like, you had the opportunity. I'm not sure why it wasn't done before, but we're here now. So, I mean, you at least get 2 spirits under the Kindleo. If you can Ambrosia off of it, there's value. So you're not just losing the spirit on board. You can't Tsunami to save yourself here. Tsunami would actually make it easier for guys.
They're actually Gorgon still does contest it, and at present we do have to re-enchant to the Galaxy if we want to get over this in a reasonable way. I wonder if we do that. We may just deploy an extra guy, but deploying an extra guy loses to PTA and Shield because these two Elestrals don't out the Kindleo, which has 2 spirits on it and can Nexus to anything to proc its effect next turn. So we do need to out this card right now.
Yeah, and I'm
like another Champ Galaxy would be crazy. That's probably the best possible play, is the other Champ Galaxy.
We are table tapping. Josh,
honestly, it might just be re-enchant. Yeah, he's going for it. Yeah, I'm rolling over it in my head, and I'm like, I think the best line by a large margin is just re-enchant Galaxy. Go again.
Because now you got to stop both of them. And I mean, like, do you really want to bounce back a Galaxy?
If this goes through, on this expend because the Galaxy I think is at 3/2, so it's 2. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I mean, 3 spirits were spent. That's 2 fires in the water. AquaDragon way behind in tempo, way behind in board presence, and Josh is looking comfortable. Has even leaned back, just let his opponent feel like, you do what you got to do.
Even if you have removal for this Galaxy, 4 turns in, even if you have a profitable attack. Josh is up 6 spirits. Like, what do you want? Yeah, and it looks like a quick scoop here says, I actually don't have too much to deal with his individual card. And re-enchant Galaxy 2 turns in a row, enough to take that match.
All right, looks like these casters are lined up and ready to go. And AquaDragon will be going first. Is that an expend?
Oh, that's a mulligan.
A mulligan.
Yeah, one downside to Fire Nexus is it has the capacity to draw some really bad hands. Hephaestus and a couple of artifacts in the opener is a death sentence. You want to be finding, especially on the play, turn 1 Valkyries. If AquaDragon is on it, turn 1 Astrabbit. A way to protect your spirit deck, or a way to jam through a card that loses to Gorgon's Gaze before BeanSoldier has an opportunity to deploy it. As a result, we're taking a mulligan, but you shouldn't feel bad about this. Fire Nexus games are very infrequently decided by something like 2 or 3 spirits. They're usually decided by a monumental push.
Absolutely. So if AquaDragon can find a better hand to just maintain control for as spirit efficient as possible, then this is the way to go. But makes you wonder just how bad that opening hand is. But mulliganing into an Astrabbit makes you feel a little better.
Yeah, certainly. Astrabbit kind of fixes all hands here. Thumbing through the choices, I saw a snap pick there. You have to imagine it's part of the combo of Valkyries or a Hephaestus prepared to launch.
So I'm assuming we're going to see a simple set here as well. So just a basic turn 1 play for AquaDragon, just trying to establish a defense in case things go awry in your next few turns. Also, one thing I've never noticed, we have different art animations for the different artwork of Astrabbit. We got the white rabbit, we got the shiny rabbit, the stellar rabbit. It's kind of cool.
Really? I hadn't noticed.
I noticed that. I noticed the stellar one earlier. I was like, isn't that normally white? And then I just saw the white one. Like, oh, we have different animation. Great. And expend the draw by BeanSoldier.
I've not yet seen the reason for these solar spirits in here.
I want to believe it's either Golden Fleece or Heliolith.
Ooh.
Has to be one of those. But if you're searching out artifacts,
I love gold. I think Golden Fleece is a good bet. I think that's a good shout out.
I like Golden Fleece a lot. A second Astrabbit hits the board. This one in attack. So now threatening a wider board, and you don't really want to try to stop with 1 card, barring Tsunami. And even then, it's like, okay, I have 2 rabbits in defense. Oh no.
Pretty rough situation here for BeanSoldier. Does not do a whole lot of anything to try and contest these with anything outside of a poison tipped arrow. And if you're going second, you probably didn't board into that card.
Well, we got an add-on right now. 1 face down set for AquaDragon, likely switching the other Astrabbit to attack. Random question: what is your preferred Astrabbit card?
Ooh, that is a really tough question.
Shatter Stars for me. I like it's the white rabbit was like bouncing through the field. Love that artwork.
Yeah, that is a good call. I think I am gonna say. I think I'm gonna say Founders. I'm gonna say the old
Founders.
Stellar.
Yeah, good artwork as well. I love seeing.
I play the Clash full art just for intimidation purposes, and because most of my deck is also full art. But I think I do like the old Stellar a little more. And as you called out, we are
Oh.
playing some nonsense. Cypramol coming down.
Cypramol being able to get a cast out from the deck with spirits from the underworld. So I'm assuming we have 2 solar spirits.
It's basically proto-Valkyries when you think about it.
It really is.
That's going to be the Gorgon's Gaze, just like Valkyries would have.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes a lot of sense because now you can just have to destroy it once. But still a really good play for BeanSoldier, and I love the Cypramol being in the list. So we're seeing a fire artifact solar list here.
Yeah, this is not super surprising, filling up the extra slots in the Volcari strategy I was speaking about during sideboarding, not with only utility Elestrals. I imagine only playing that Galaxy because of its incidental synergy with Small Tuga, which you're already playing, but with Cypramol and Golden Fleece. I think identifying one of the big weaknesses of the Fire Nexus strategy, which is there are 2 good artifacts, Necklace of Harmonia and Torch of Hestia. There is not a third one. Golden Fleece is kind of a third one.
Golden Fleece with Lyre as well, both an option. And we're playing
Water Puppy coming down.
Halloween Necruff coming down. 5 body, immune to Tsunami. We already know that the other Astrappers were not stopped with the Tsunami. So
that was an incredible rhyme. 5 body, immune to Tsunami.
I have a comment I won't make. But I mean, kind of an intimidating spot to be in if you're BeanSoldier. What exactly are you going to deal with the Water Puppy for? We have the Water Puppy going in to the Cypramol, no Golden Fleece, and Gorgon's Gaze to stop the attack.
Really inefficient Gorgon's Gaze, but you can't let these rabbits run away with the game. You're in a position where you need to be contesting them every turn. This saves you 2 health just by virtue of them hitting direct. You get to keep the Cypramol around. Just need something to deal with that last back row, and then we are no longer in trouble. Oh no, and an attack being declared here. Is the last back row Argo?
There's no way.
It's gotta be. There's no other.
Oh, yeah. Way too quick with that. The TP art as well.
All right, does BeanSoldier have an Argo or a Tsunami? Either of them would work here because that Necruff's already declared.
What do you put on it? Do you put in Hammer of Effect? No, not Hammer.
You can put in exactly Necklace of Harmonia, I believe.
Yeah.
I guess technically you could put Poison Tunic on the Cypramol. Decks don't frequently play that, but it's about 50-50. And we're going Harmonia. Actually, I'm not super beat up about this if I'm BeanSoldier. Takes them down to 9-7 after end step, and you've deployed so little. The upside of this is that you're taking 1 additional point of damage off the Astrap that'll get in direct to your opponent's investment of 6 spirits into this play. That's even better. Wow, I said Tsunami was the killer card here, and boy, is that miserable. Not only paying for the Necklace of Harmonia, has to pay it out just for it to likely go to the Underworld after BeanSoldier's next turn, provided he's got anything worth casting.
Yeah, that is really good for Josh at this moment. But does need to draw an Elestral worth its salt to try to do anything to this board. You have a 5 attacker and 5 defenders on the field, while we have AquaDragon expending a fire and water spirit to the Underworld. So 13 spirits in BeanSoldier's favor. Not far out the realm of possibility, but really needs a potent draw to get back into this game here.
And there's so many that do it. Without any other back row, jamming a Valkyries here does it and feels really good. Any artifact plus like a Kindleo. There's a lot of 2-card combinations that almost automatically win the game. There's even a lot of 1-card combinations that are incredible. Earthquake here, not bad. Does out the rabbit and the Necklace of Harmonia, but maybe telegraphs that we don't have something powerful like a Valkyries, which would otherwise get to eat it for free.
Yeah. Like normally you see Earthquake is like that's amazing, but
that's
in that scenario, is that Viserys?
Very interesting. It is Viserys. The Viserys can attack into the Necruff and proc it, but we would need something to put it a little over the Necruff if we really wanted to get some value here.
All right, we do have 2 face downs coming from Josh. That is interesting, knowing that AquaDragon was utilizing
We're going to try on the Necruff, it looks like.
All right, I'm fine with this.
The Viserys sends to the Underworld. We're going to be able to fetch out a Viserys from deck because, of course, we have 2 Viserys and then 1 from the Firestorm set. We are able to get a Viserys that has an effect onto our side of the field here. And maybe we have an altar play that we can use to kind of get our opponent in a funny way.
Well, I mean, just attack into their strap and just your savage dominance. Just let them know you're here. Just knock at the... Nope.
That is a miscast as well with a Fire Spirit. Kind of interesting. I think I would have expected to see the Firestorm Viserys if it isn't already in hand. If he was just to miscast it.
I feel like that he's just out of Earth Spirits.
It's very possible. Here, the Fire Spirit telegraphs a Kindleo play for on a following turn, and I think that's pretty likely if this Viserys doesn't leave the field.
Right now, the play is on AquaDragon, one Astrabbit left on the field. Not out the realm of possibility, but really needs to knock these Elestrals out to really get back into this. As we have Torch of Hestia going onto Astrabbit, making it a 4 attacker.
Do not love this. This is a really rough play.
It can get over the Viserys. There's that. And we have a... Oh, we are playing Heliolith.
Oh, wow.
I love this play now.
He's rubbing his hands. He's like, gotcha.
Absolutely. But what do you bounce back? I mean, I kind of don't want to bounce back the Viserys, but I don't want to give you a chance to cast out Golden Fleece again.
You may bounce back nothing. Just cast it as like a mechanism to get another body on board and beat like a shield on the Astrabbit into the Viserys.
The secret third option, nothing. Forgot about that.
Yeah, you don't have to. All right, giving back the Cyper Maul here.
All right. Yeah, maybe AquaDragon didn't remember his secret third option.
All right, absent Tsunami, I think we are going to get over this Viserys.
And that's going to be a declaration of the torch, hopefully. It does need to be active. I'm assuming it was. Okay, we do have a foretell. That's a shield. Ash
Rabbit. And a Volk. It's a Hef, yeah.
I think that might have been an Elestral. I can't quite tell that one. But I mean, it definitely was a fire Elestral. So
it kind of looked like Shattered Star's Scavacole, but I hope it was not that. That card is not particularly good.
Not in this scenario. No, I wouldn't want to be drawing that right now. But I am a fan of, like, it's essentially a mirror match. Like, I wonder if BeanSoldier's playing Heliolith in his list as well.
I mean, we saw the Solars already. You know, we know they're for Cyper Maul, but you could also just be playing Heliolith.
Really curious about the spirit math on his list. And after the attack right there, we do have Heliolith going in for 2. And I mean, this game is a pendulum, just swinging back and forth. Board control now in the control of AquaDragon.
All right, we've got no back row to protect this Heliolith and Astrabbit. Any Elestral with 6 attack completely walls this, including a Volcaries that has Torch of Hestia on it. Going for a Galaxy here? No, a Water Enchanted Cyper Maul. Why are we doing that exactly? We must be out of solar.
Are we just crashing into Astrabbit?
That seems really bad. It could be Argo. We could go like...
Argo is really expensive right now.
Yeah, Cyper Maul, Argo, Torch over Rabbit, or over Heliolith. That costs 3. Ugh.
Yeah, really wanting for a Champ Volcaries right now. Being able to get Festus out, start recovering spirits for artifact casts from the underworld. And we do have an attack being declared. It looks like it's going to be Argo. Yeah. Yes.
I think there's an argument to not even attack and force your opponent to go into an Argo, but it loses to so much. The follow-up Heliolith, etc.
Have we always had an Argo animation?
No, we've got one now, regardless.
Beautiful. Well, hey, Torch of Hestia is going to be it. I don't think the effect can be declared, though, with Torch of Hestia.
No, it doesn't work this way.
Yeah. Still can't get the attack buff, though. A 6 attacker on board for 1 cost. It's not the worst spot to be in, but also not very comfortable.
But it did bring you down to 3.
Yeah, it's not comfortable what you're dealing with right now. Cyper Maul going to go in and
get over the Heliolith. Put AquaDragon on, have a second Heliolith. I think you have to imagine that the boy math is really bad at this point for both of them. Fires and Solars and Thunders, oh my.
Yeah, it's so many different elements being played by these casters, but that's like the nature of fire, is that not many times you're playing a fire deck with 11 fire spirits.
AquaDragon here, Kindleo. Yep.
Kindleo. Wow.
As expected. Oh, that is miserable.
That face down needs to be Gaze.
Yeah, it's got to be Gaze. You got to let the Nexus happen. Gaze onto the Kindleo off of the Torch of Hestia, and then get a 2-for-1. That's the only scenario in which Josh gets to continue to be in this game.
Is it Gaze?
It is Alter.
Whoa!
Okay, so we can pull off the targeted Cyper Maul to Nexus from the Torch to the Cyper Maul, switching the Kindleo to defense to protect ourselves for 1 damage, cycling the spirits that are already on field. We're going to take 1 off of this bit attack if we keep it in attack, but we have found ourselves in a position where, like an Elestral with 1 attack could win the game. Unfortunately, we almost assuredly know that that is shield.
Yeah, one attack is going to go away. That's going to put BeanSoldier down to 2.
I mean, it's got to be Valkyries or Ambro. Those are, I think, the only things that do it. And even Valkyries probably doesn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get out artifact of Valkyries, then you can barely get that line up. That is old Kindleo.
Oh, no. Really rough play here. You got to do it to crash into the Kindleo and hope for the best, but you know it's a shield. Got to put AquaDragon down to 1 to cast it, or 2 if they cast it off of the Kindleo.
Is it not a shield? Oh, I think he was waiting for the attack to be
yeah.
And that's a shield.
We foretold it off the hammer. And Josh says, I'm taking the Mull. I am not going to let this happen again. Again, when you are going first in this matchup, you can mulligan very aggressively. We saw AquaDragon go to half Josh's life total in the last game and be rewarded for it. These big swingy turns are what matter in decks that are as capable as Fire Nexus, not heeming and hawing over individual spirits.
Well, at this point, it's all about what the next cards are going to be doing for Josh. I assume that no matter what, he's going to keep his hand. Like, he's not really the type to try to mulligan twice. If he can find Valkyries or a Strabbit, you're going to.
Okay, so we are on the bunny. We're
going
with the Founders. You're right. There's a different animation.
Yeah, that's so good. Love that. But yeah, the Strabbit here, just a good way to shore up. Not Smotuga to make Valkyries live, but if you found Valkyries off of the Strabbit, then all is well. It's essentially the same thing with the recurable effect.
Yeah, one of the really impressive things about the more pure builds of this strategy is just how many tutors you get to play. Astrabbit finds you combo pieces. Valkyries is the card you want to see. Smoltuga finds Valkyries. It's just so consistent. Here we are expending to draw from AquaDragon. That is a really rough position to be in.
Yeah, I mean, AquaDragon knows that this isn't the greatest spot to be in because, I mean, he did this just last game. He was just being beaten down by Astrabbit, and now BeanSoldier's in that same position to do the same, especially if he can build wide with Astrabbits. AquaDragon's in a bad spot. 2 face downs, though, to cover up what could be coming for him. So let's see how this plays out.
All right, time for the Hurricane.
Well, that would be the one card we haven't
running
seen.
It back. Astrabbit again says, you want to Gorgons this? I'm totally fine if you want to Gorgons this. AquaDragon says, yeah, I want to Gorgons this.
Wow, actually.
Where do you land on Gorgons the Re-Enchanted Astrabbit?
It feels bad, but if your hand cannot deal with the powered up Astrabbit, and if you're going to take the damage, you might as well stop them from getting advantage. It's not what I want to do, but
it is a little different when you have no Elestrals on your side of the field, and like they would just switch it to attack and do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, you're losing the Gorgon's Gaze, but
boom, big Lavalith here.
That's why you stop the Gorgon's Gaze, because now you get a lot of advantage and can get rid of the Astrabbit.
Pulling a PTA off the bunny here, really scary, means the Lavalith is going to walk directly into the bunny and then just get eaten at the end step. Then because Lavalith is limited, you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the game. Boy, do I love the full art Lavalith, by the way. I'm actually not a huge fan of the Stellar. I love the full art Lavalith.
He puts his hands up in the air sometimes.
Say an Ayo. Pop your back row.
Thank you very much. But Lavalith is not going to be able to get over the Astrabbit and goes down to the Underworld for its troubles. Unfortunate use of a 1-cost limited card.
What if we re-enchanted Rabbit again?
Yeah.
I know he's thinking about it.
Might as well. No, we're building wide. Yeah,
like,
I mean,
at some point I am going to have to resolve a card that wins me the game.
This is essentially a Astrabbit, but it gets you more directly to what you want. Searching any 1-cost fire, we know it's going to be Valkyries.
Yeah, we get a little bit of information here based off the pick. If it's Kindleo, we have Valkyries already, probably. Or a Nexus Bank. I think probably what we're doing here is struggling over the choice, not because it's an obvious Valkyries, but because we have a Nexus Bank in hand already, and it's maybe worth getting Kindleo on the assumption that deploying that in 1 turn is more valuable. I do agree with the ultimate conclusion Josh has come to, which is that Valkyries is just too good to not get here.
Yeah.
Moving to attack, I think correctly understanding that we need to keep the pressure on while we've got it.
This is going to return spirit count to an equal footing, but 2 spirits on BeanSoldier's board. Really good spot for him going into this next turn.
Yeah. And this Fire Nexus deck, especially when you're playing as many other Elemental Pantheons as AquaDragon is, the math can get pretty bad. You start expending fires, and then you realize, oh no, I'm only playing about 9 fires. I got to be very deliberate about these.
Yeah, but we have a chance.
Do we have the gaze, or are we going to have dueling Volks?
I mean, you have to stop this, right?
Ooh,
that's one way to stop it.
Not great.
Not for this turn. It does help in the immediate, because now Josh can play his own Volcaries and start building up his own pressure, albeit he does it without an extra Elestral on his board.
Looks like we got the hammer here. I can't really tell based on the resolution, but this is... Oh, it's Hephaestus into an individual one. We still probably go in a little bit. Yeah, just trying to make sure we can refocus. There we go. Then we're going to probably go for it this turn. I mean, Hephaestus into Torch like sculpts your draw enough that I think it is still worth it, even if you're about to lose the Elestral. And forcing Josh to pay out instead of just crashing it into the Ast Rabbit or something at least feels a little better when you're fighting over spirit count.
Choosing the Hephaestus over a Torch of Hestia. I wonder what use cases AquaDragon has found that has him valuing the hammer in this list. Because
hammer is not a bad card.
No, not at all.
It is quite strong, especially in a world where a significant amount of the monster removal happens from individual Elestrals like Kindleo that do target. Moreover, this deck is really wanting for one additional good artifact. Some people play Tunic in that slot. I've seen Lyre in that slot. BeanSoldier is, of course, playing Golden Fleece in that slot. I don't think hammer is too far-fetched.
No, not at all. It's just it's really an interesting place. I wonder if there's ever been any use cases where Aqua's like, yeah, this is the way to go. But all the same, essentially the same play, whether it was hammer or torch, because we paid for the spirits from the underworld. And
we're walking over the money, and we are going to pay it out at end step. We do get the differential on the hammer. That's a card out, but that's also a card that like AquaDragon doesn't want to draw. So ends up being a fine trade for both players. Tempo massively swung in BeanSoldier's favor, but if that set card is something like a Gorgon's Gaze to contest BeanSoldier's Volcaries, AquaDragon may actually be in a much better spot than we had anticipated. Let's see what it is.
All right, so the cast is out for the Volcaries. We're going to be searching for the Hephaestus, and it is allowed to.
All right, that's disastrous. That's
PTA, horrifying. No Gorgon's Gaze. This is a rough spot to be in for AquaDragon. The full art Hephaestus.
Oh, that's the only one worth playing, baby.
That's the. Well, I like the statue one too.
Yeah, the statues are not bad. Yeah. I really appreciate the new Divine Runes in Firestorm, but one of the downsides is that Hephaestus isn't one of them. It's like, this is the one I really need.
Yeah, what happened there? And we'll get new art. Wait, what is it? Well, we'll worry about it later. Shout out to Hestia, though, introducing it as the new Fire Divine for Elestrals.
We didn't want to steal her thunder.
Wait.
That is not how that works. We're going to have to enchant that Hephaestus first.
Yeah, I don't think BeanSoldier realized that. You can only Valkyries allows you to use spirits in Underworld for the cast of an artifact as long as Hephaestus is enchanted. And
yeah.
Wait, there is an Hephaestus on the
other Hephaestus.
He can save his own.
Why did we ever doubt the boy?
Oh, and this is why we're on commentary.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
In a foretell, we saw Tsunami and Earthquake. I missed the first one. If we can get production on that one.
Tsunami, Earthquake, and Viscerus are the three.
Viscerus,
pretty much anything you could ever want.
So Earthquake on the top, clearly.
Looks like we are going to take 2 here.
He's just holding his spirit.
Dragon just kind of agonizing over which 2.
I feel like he was just waiting. Like, are you going to declare your attack or?
Yeah, what are we doing here exactly? I wonder what that set card is at this point. I guess we haven't gotten like a really good Tsunami. I think that's probably a decent pick. We haven't gotten a terrible Poison Tipped Arrow, but you probably still play it on the Volcaries. We've already expended our Lavaliths, so we have very few catch-up mechanics left. Earthquake is helpful. It is helpful.
Not in the Celestial. Put it in the Rune Realm.
You're firing it on a Volcaries that has already cashed in.
Yeah. Not exactly the best trade, but it does get rid of an Elestral you otherwise
Maybe
you
you have
clearly
something to
cannot get
develop.
rid of. Another face down set. That one has to be the wheel. Makes me really curious what that first one next to Hephaestus is. Has to be big,
I'm
right?
locking in Tsunami.
I guess, but we'll see. But we do have a water necklace
Water
coming
puppy
out
here.
here. Definitely strong enough to get over this Motuga, and not something you really want to shield. So this Motuga might just go down.
I think you do shield it if the attack happens. AquaDragon's at 5. You really want to put the screws on them. You could put them down to 3 here.
I mean, this is an argument just
so,
to
okay,
shield.
here's what I think is going on.
What's up?
Because we had that pause on the Kindleo, we're deciding about shielding this, Kindleoing nothing, and putting them down to 1. But that's a really bad play if that doesn't go off, and we now have 2 known back row and a Tsunami that hasn't been activated. So it would be Kindleo the 2 onto the Smoltuga and try and get the trade that way. It's really agonizing over this. The other thing it could be is an Argo.
True. I mean, I guess we gotta see.
Wow, this is it's either a shield or an Argo, and he can't decide what he wants to do with it.
It's absolutely active right now, but I think he wanted to do something with the Volcurious for Argo, not wanting to do this without being able to recover spirits from the underworld. Just a really tight spot for BeanSoldier here.
Right, so we're doing the attack, and he says, I will let it go through.
All right. Really curious about what those face downs are now. And where exactly we agonizing over.
Big Galaxy.
Galaxy.
Wow. That beats the Telegraphed Tsunami as well. Really excellent play here.
So now that new face down has to be a shield if AquaDragon wants to make it with Nekruff into the next turn. A new face down set. Sorry, not a new. Another one looked at.
Go for the Hef here. I
out.
wonder if we actually enchant with a water, because we've seen an altar out of BeanSoldier. A water here would enable you to Galaxy on your opponent's turn and make the Nekruff unable to get over.
Oh my God, your brain is large.
So that's definitely an altar set. But we wouldn't have been considering the altar closest to the deck last turn. So it's got to be altar in the column under the Galaxy, and I'm still putting him on shield for the one closest to the deck. There's a shield out of AquaDragon, which if you're BeanSoldier, you're pretty happy about. Pulling off the Hephaestus is just as good here. You're going to go down to 4. The Nekruff can still only get in for 1. You're taking 2 here down to 6. Your opponent's at 3. You're very happy with that in a position where you can alter to win any trade on a future turn, and the Galaxy already contests everything.
Yeah, at this point, you want to pressure them for whatever that face down is to use that as well. So, I mean, not the worst spot. Worst case scenario, you're just taking 1 point of damage.
It's a toughie. That Hephaestus is definitely not on the field, by the way. It's been a long day.
This is an interesting game. Love that one. Is that an expensive
draw? Oh, very late to be doing that. But that just means what we're telegraphing here is we don't have an out to the slam down the Galaxy a second time. And honestly, who does? It's such an incredible play. Set 1, but if the 1 is like a shield, you go down to 1 to make this happen to BeanSoldier's 7. Like, oh, sheesh.
Yeah, at this point, you just Galaxy again. Like, there's nothing stopping you. You want to stop this one from going off? Like, go on. I have Altar set. Do you see what I have set up right now?
It's actually really impressive how little of the Valkyrie's game plan Josh has done. Mostly just playing Valkyries as a value engine to get a Nexus bank. Oh, is that an EQ? We did finally draw into the EQ after foretelling all those turns ago.
Would that not have been valuable to save right now, though? Oh, well, we're doing something completely different.
Maybe it wouldn't have been valuable because we are out of waters.
Oh!
I think I see what's going on. Now, hilariously, the Galaxy is still online because we can alter Nexus the water to it, which will trigger its effect. But it is going to require us to misenchant here. And then a really hard expend out of AquaDragon. These last 3, especially in these Nexus decks that are all 2-card combos, are devastating. There's no way we're losing to just Champ Galaxy. Please, no.
Tsunami is online.
You're right. Wait, it totally is. Tsunami Chain Altar is kind of crazy, though.
Right. I mean, you have 2 spirits, and looks like no Ambrosia, because if you did have Ambrosia, you probably would have just landed down by now. We have a cast of a Kinleo.
Attack Kindleo that does technically out the Galaxy, but it just loses to the altar you have to imagine is already sitting there.
What are we considering here,
Soldier
Josh?
says, yeah, why not?
Nothing to really nexus.
What do I care?
From.
Worst case scenario is that the last card is a Nexus Bank, a Hephaestus or something.
Oh, well, a PTA is going to meet it regardless.
Are you kidding me? Oh
I mean,
my god.
If this
Josh
goes
is
through,
so,
it does
he's so
essentially-
deliberate. He gave
Yeah.
off crazy battle trick non-verbals with that one. He was like, it's Argo, it's Shield. It was PTA the whole time. There was never a question of if he would activate it.
Yeah, just
thumbed it
huge.
for 2 minutes. What a
Psychic
jerk.
damage is real.
Okay,
There's
worst
the
case
last
scenario has
Hephaestus.
come to pass. It is, in fact, a Nexus Bank. We're going to Nexus to the Kindleo here.
That's it.
That's going to enable AquaDragon to pop the Galaxy. We can use Alter to switch the Kindleo to defense, then pay out on the PTA at end step, putting them to 0.
Yep.
Unless we have a set copy of Ambro out of AquaDragon, which I think is the last thing we really need to be worrying about. Paying
if
here
this
so that we
turn
can keep
ends,
the
the game
Hephaestus
ends.
online, by the way, is pretty funny.
Oh, wow. That's actually really good. Big brain plays. But yeah, fantastic play here. Just giving yourself another option. But this is just like the minute details that BeanSoldier is so good
At end step, and that's going to be it.
That is-
BeanSoldier pays down to 2, and from this position, AquaDragon can no longer win the game. We are about to go into time, but not soon
Wow.
enough. The Viserys, foretold several turns ago, will get in for lethal, and BeanSoldier continues the undefeated streak through the top 8 match. Can someone please stop this undefeated man?